I saw my death 2 weeks before it happened. Not in a dream, not in a vision, but in a painting. And not just me, our whole village, burning. The scary part isn't that someone painted it. The scary part is that everything in it came true, exactly as it was. But back then, we didn't know what it meant. We didn't even believe it. At least not until it was too late. Let me tell you how it started. I come from a small village in the southeast, Okorome. One road in, one road out. Most people are either farmers, petty traders, or teachers like me. We know each other by name, by family, by everything. Nothing ever really happens here. That's what made it feel safe. It was around July when Ada moved back to the village. Her full name was Adaora, but everyone just called her Ada. She was the granddaughter of Omoni Oboli, the local herbalist who lived near the stream. Omoni Oboli was well respected. People said she used to see things before they happened. But that was long ago. Ada was quiet, but respectful. She wasn't raised here. She grew up in Enugu with her late mother and only came back after NYSC. She started painting again when she came. Not on request, just random scenes. We thought she was just artistic or bored. I remember her first painting clearly. It was of the village square, exactly as it looked, except the sky was dark and all the market stalls were empty. We didn't think much of it. Just colors on canvas. A week later, the village square was empty. The health center had issued a cholera warning after a child died, and everyone was told to stay indoors for a day. That wasn't something we were used to, but it matched the painting in a weird way. Still, we brushed it off. Coincidence. Artists are dramatic, right? But then there was another one. This time, Ada painted a woman standing in front of a collapsed house. The house looked exactly like the one Mama Jide lived in. We knew it from the zinc roof and the cracked front wall. 2 days after that, the house caved in during heavy rain. People started whispering. Some said Ada had vision. Others said she was cursed. A few began avoiding her altogether. Me? I was just curious. I visited her one afternoon under the excuse of buying groundnut oil from Omoni Oboli. When I got there, Ada was sitting outside, painting like her life depended on it. Her hands moved fast, too fast. Her face was blank, her brush never paused. I looked over her shoulder. She was painting the riverbank, but it wasn't normal. There was a body floating near the rocks. My chest tightened. That week, I started avoiding the river. 3 days later, we heard the news. A man had drowned, drunk, lost his balance and hit his head on the rocks. It was the exact spot from the painting. That's when I stopped thinking it was just art. By the end of August, she had painted 7 scenes that all came true. Some were small, a tire bursting on the road, a trader losing her stall to a fire. But one was worse. She painted a school wall collapsing. The principal saw it and immediately had the building checked. Turns out the wall was weak. They repaired it before anything bad could happen. That was the first time her painting actually prevented something. Word spread. People started going to her secretly, asking her to paint their future. She never charged, never explained, just painted when the urge came. Then she stopped. She didn't come outside for days. Omoni Oboli told people Ada was not herself. She wouldn't eat, barely slept, and kept muttering things at night. Then, 2 weeks before it happened, she brought a painting to the village square. She didn't say a word, just leaned it against a tree and walked away. Nobody touched it at first. I was the one who took a closer look, and I wish I never did. It was the village, our village, on fire. Houses reduced to rubble, people running, falling, smoke everywhere. I saw familiar faces, Mr. Ibuka crawling, Mama Nkechi holding a burnt child, and me, dead on the ground, eyes wide open, mouth full of ash. I stumbled back. People gathered. Some screamed, others prayed, some claimed it was evil. But the worst part? Someone checked the back of the canvas. Ada had written one sentence, 14 days left. The elders called a meeting. Everyone was tense. Some believed it was a warning. Others said Ada had gone mad. One elder said, "She's just a girl. This is not prophecy. It's poison." Another said, "She has the gift. Her grandmother had it too. But what can we do?" That was the problem. Nobody knew what to do. We didn't have an enemy. No threats, no sign of anything. So we did what people do when they're afraid but don't want to admit it. We ignored it. Life continued, but not really. People moved with caution. Some left the village to visit relatives. Others locked their shops earlier than usual. Ada didn't come out at all. On the 10th day, we noticed something strange. The fuel depot was being visited by strangers. At night, unfamiliar faces, whispering, always around the storage tanks. A few of us raised alarm, but the depot owner said it was just businessmen from town. He even joked, "What, you think they're coming to burn the village?" Nobody laughed. On the 14th night, it happened. I woke up to screaming. Orange light poured through my window. I rushed outside and saw flames swallowing the houses down the road. People ran. Some tried to fetch water, but it was too fast, too hot. I saw the tanks at the fuel depot explode. The fire jumped from one rooftop to another like it was alive. Screaming filled the air. And then I remembered the painting. It was all playing out, frame by frame. I ran, helped who I could, but it was chaos. The last thing I saw before I passed out from smoke was a little boy, his hair on fire, running straight toward me. I woke up in the clinic 2 days later. I was lucky. 32 people were confirmed dead. 20 homes gone. The fuel depot owner missing. No trace of him or the businessmen. And Ada? She vanished the night before the fire. Her grandmother said she had a dream. A voice told her to finish the final painting and leave. When they searched her room, they found something chilling. Dozens of unfinished paintings. Some showed scenes that hadn't happened yet. One of them was our village, rebuilt. Clean roads, new houses, children laughing. And in the far corner, standing alone, was Ada, holding a brush, watching. 6 months after the fire, the village was slowly trying to rebuild. The pain still lingered, and the trauma haunted the survivors. Some left the village, unable to bear the memory of the destruction. Others tried to move on, but there was always something eerie hanging in the air, an unsettling feeling that we could never shake. One afternoon, I was going through some old papers at the local church. They had started a small memorial for the victims of the fire, and they had been collecting all kinds of documents and personal items from the families who had lost loved ones. As I sifted through the papers, a small, dusty envelope caught my attention. It wasn't part of the usual collection. I opened it carefully. It was a death certificate. At first, I didn't think much of it, but then I saw the name, Adaora Ebele. The date on the certificate sent a shiver down my spine. It was dated 3 months before Ada even moved back to Okorome. I felt my heart stop for a moment. How could that be? Ada had been alive when she came to the village. I had spoken to her myself, watched her paint, seen her work. She'd lived with Mama Ebele for months. But this was impossible. The document was official, stamped, signed, everything checked out. The name on the certificate was the same, and the cause of death was listed as unknown circumstances, a vague term that meant nothing to us at the time. I tried to make sense of it, but nothing added up. The more I thought about it, the more it seemed like an answer, or maybe a key to something even darker that none of us had fully understood. Was Ada a ghost? Had she somehow been walking among us, painting our future, while already dead? Was she trying to warn us of something we couldn't stop? Had the fire been part of something larger? Something that involved her death long before the warning she left us? I rushed to Mama Ebele's house, hoping that she had some explanation. When I told her about the death certificate, her face grew pale. She stared at it in silence for a long while. Her hands trembled as she took the paper from me. "She was already gone?" I asked, barely believing the words I was saying. Mama Ebele said nothing at first, then she whispered, "My daughter, the one who died years ago, I never told anyone. She was like Ada, connected. I think Ada came back to us, but not as herself." I was speechless. She looked at me, her eyes filled with sadness and understanding. Ada was never meant to stay long. She came back to finish what was started. Her death was a part of the curse. Suddenly, everything made sense in a way that chilled me to my bones. Ada's paintings, the warning, her sudden disappearance. It wasn't just an odd coincidence. She wasn't just a person who moved back to the village. She had died months before, but something, some force, had brought her back, using her to paint the future. She wasn't trying to harm us. She was trying to save us, but we didn't understand the language of her art until it was too late. And now, with the fire that had taken so many lives, I couldn't help but wonder if Ada had tried to do more than just warn us. Maybe she had tried to fix something that was broken long before we even knew what was at stake. I couldn't shake the image of her last unfinished painting. The village rebuilt, children laughing, life going on. Was that her way of saying that we had a second chance? Or was it a warning that something worse was still coming? As I left Mama Ebele's house, I could feel the weight of the world on my shoulders. I had so many questions, but no answers. I looked around at the village, trying to find some sense of peace, but all I could see was the eerie silence. There was no escape from the feeling that Ada's unfinished paintings were still out there, waiting to reveal something new. Was there more to come? Were we truly safe? And would we ever learn the full truth about the ghost who painted the future?